Hello, this is Elijah Clark here. I wanted to today show you the Logitech Ultrathin keyboard for the iPad Air 2 and the Brydge Air for the iPad Air 2. Now, I previously did a video on the Ultrathin keyboard. If you wanted to look at that, and that just gives you an unboxing, talks about a few of the features and whatnot. But I've been using this for a while now, so I wanted to give you more of an in-depth analysis of it. This one I've been using for a few days, and I just wanted to explain to you why I did purchase this and why I did stop using this one. But first off, let me get to the few features of the Logitech Ultrathin here. Now, one big issue that this has, if you put the iPad in here, as you can see, it rotates, not rotates, but it bends backwards, which is cool. That's what it's supposed to do. So you got a few different angles here. So this might be one feature as to why you want to purchase this. But one issue that I had a lot when I was using this device for typing or sitting on the sofa or sitting on the bed and trying to do some work or whatnot, a big issue with this is, as you can see, it's pretty sturdy right here. But when you shift in the bed, it falls. It's going to continue to do that. So let's say you just want to shift and stretch it back. Bam, falls. That's what this thing continually does. There's no grip whatsoever at this angle, at this angle, at this angle. It's not, as you can see, I'm going to keep going back. That's when you finally get a little grip when it's at that angle. But if you bend this thing forward, it just slips right out. There's nothing holding that thing whatsoever. So that's one big problem that I have with this. Another thing is this runs on batteries. So you're gonna have to get some new batteries for this thing. As you can see here, I'm gonna pull that out. This runs on a battery and not a USB charge. So this is what you're gonna need to keep this thing going. I think these batteries might last maybe 3 months, a year, or whatever the case was. Either way, it's a battery, one more battery that you have to worry about. So that's another problem there. It also has this clip here, which I talked about this before, but the clip here, it's a magnet. So you can basically put this close and you can see it pops open with that magnetic feature. Now, if you snap that in there, it's a little snap, but you can see this still exists here. So this thing is not flush. So this might be a concern of yours, is that this just isn't flush. And keep in mind, I had the the iPad 2 Logitech Ultrathin keyboard, and it did not have this feature. It almost seems that Logitech wanted so bad to put this thing on here that they took away quality, which this was not on here before. It was just a better keyboard overall for the iPad 2. And they kind of just ruined a few things on this new version of it. So I'm just going to believe that they wanted to make this better, but they ended up making it worse. So that clip does show. In addition, I talked about it in the last video as well, but if you put this clip on here, it still moves. This clip is not sturdy at all. And I can just move it here with my thumbs. And it's just not sturdy. So, but it will hold if you need it to, but it definitely still moves. But it'll get the job done if you put it in a case or whatnot, or a sleeve of some sort. If you open it, it falls right back off. So it's a little more attach and go type keyboard. It's not one that you can actually use as a laptop or think that is going to be very sturdy. It really is meant to be for on-the-go keyboard, and you just want to take this thing off and use your iPad, for example, pop it in there, do some typing. And if you're on a flat surface, this keyboard is pretty awesome, I'll admit that much. But if you're not on a flat surface, you plan on moving this thing around, sitting on a sofa, for example, sitting in your bed, sitting on a chair, sitting on anything, and putting this on your lap, this is not what you want at all. This is just for tables, I would say, or flat surfaces, anything of that nature. So let me get to the Brydge Air and I'll get back to this. The Brydge Air, this keyboard, like I said, I just purchased this a few days ago. This is definitely a little more sturdy than the iPad, the Logitech keyboard. As you can see, I'm going to pop the iPad in here. You basically just use these little nuggets or whatever you want to call them and pop this thing in here. If it's too tight, then you just want to open them up and loosen it. You can loosen it, you can tighten it, whatever your preference as far as that's concerned. You do have to move this if you don't put it in there properly. As you can see, this might not be aligned properly, so I would just move that and it'll pretty much stay there. It's not going to go anywhere else. As you see, it's pretty aligned here. This is for the speakers, because this also has speakers on it, has the keyboard Bluetooth connection and the on and off button, has some pads here on the bottom. Let me show you the other one, the Logitech. This is the bottom of that. As you can see, these pads are a little smaller, not a little smaller, a lot smaller. You got these little studs right here for the pads, and you got this bar up here for the grip as well. But this one gives you a little more padding on the bottom, a little more sturdiness. Got a Brydge logo back here. And these are the speakers. This is where the audio comes out. And as you can see, this is where it clips in. As you can see, this comes out as well. So this protrudes a bit, just like the Logitech does. So that gives you an idea there. So yeah, there you have that. And this is where the charging port goes. This is the iPad here. So the keys are pretty much aligned on this thing. So if you open it up, as you can see, this is a lot more sturdy. I don't get that same falling feeling. I can actually put this at a different angles, whatever angles you want. It goes up to 180-degree angle here. It's not going anywhere. I can move this thing. It's definitely sturdy. It's going to stay in place. If I put it there, as you can see, lay it flat, not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. It's definitely way sturdier than I was getting with the Logitech, because if you move that thing, it's falling out. This one's definitely not going to be falling out. So yeah, that's just one of those things there. But let me get to the point here. Another point here is this one also has speakers. I think I have some audio here for you. Let me check. I think I put some Taylor Swift on here. I'm on YouTube. So I'm going to let you hear the audio. Let me get past this ad. So if you listen to the audio, currently the audio is coming out. Let me pause that for a second. The audio right now is going to be coming out of the keyboard, so I'm going to let you hear that for a bit, and then I'm going to turn off that audio, and then I'm going to let you hear the audio coming out of the iPad. I want you to see if you can hear the difference, but here we go. All right, I just switched it, so now I'm going to hear the iPad. And I'm going to switch it back here. So as you can see, that's the difference in the audio. Now the difference, what you're really getting is you're getting the audio coming out at you versus the audio coming out of the side. So there's a big difference there. And as you can see here, this is where the speakers are, as I showed you before. So when you end up opening the iPad, the speakers are just, the sound is just bouncing off of the iPad and coming out at you from this angle here. And if you put it on the iPad speakers, the audio is going to come out of here. So I personally think the iPad speakers sound a little better, a little more clarity on them versus the keyboard speaker. But like I said, it's more about direction than it is about quality. So it just depends on which one is more important to you at that point. In addition, this comes with the USB charger, as I showed you before. And one thing that's a big difference, I want to show you the keyboards here for a second, because there's one key reason why I purchased this Brydge Air over the Logitech, why I decided to stop using this. And that is because it's something that's simple that you don't even think about until you don't have it. And it is the screen brightness. This is something that I did not realize I needed until I did not have it. I mean, when I'm sitting at a beach, when I'm sitting outside, I can be out in the sun. You just want to make that screen brighter. If you're in bed at night, you want to turn this thing down. If you're sitting in a low area, you want to turn this thing down. You just want that ability to be able to use this screen brightness. And that's something that this keyboard does not have. And I ended up having to swipe up a lot, messing with that brightness on there. This one just gives you more control. And it's something so simple that Logitech should have just thought about, really. I mean, I don't get why that did not happen, to be honest with you. In addition to that, this has a backlit keyboard. This does not have a backlit keyboard. So let me try to show you a little bit of that if I can, because it's bright in here. This is for the brightness. This button here, this will turn up the backlit keyboard. If you look underneath my hand, you can probably turn it on there. There you go. So this will three different levels of brightness. And in dark areas, yeah, you're definitely going to see a big difference. But yeah, you got that. That's just one more thing to consider when you're making a purchase. Like I said, the charging, the backlit keyboard. Another thing is the keyboard in itself. This is a little more aligned with the iPad keyboard. If you look at the Logitech keyboard, for example, you'll see the different keys on here. You got the this will give you, this is something that the Brydge Air here does not have, which this allows you to go between screens and whatnot. This takes you to the home screen. Then you got the search and you got the keyboard and whatnot, all that. You can lock it here. But you also have these option keys. The option and command keys are sitting here on the Logitech keyboard, but there's none on the right side. If you look at the Brydge Air keyboard, as you can see, it's on both sides. So this is something that you might want to consider. I know me, when I'm using my MacBook Pro, I like to use command keys and option keys over here. In addition, when you're using a normal keyboard, that's where they are anyway. So you do want your keyboard being as close to a normal keyboard as possible if you're planning on doing a lot of typing and web browsing on this thing. So this one is better for that. In addition, as far as the difference between them, this one costs $99 when I paid for it. Might be a little cheaper now. This one costs $169. This one comes in 3 different versions, 3 different colors. You got the space gray, which this one is, which aligns with the space gray iPad, as you can see. So this comes in space gray. It comes in silver, which aligns with the general MacBook colors, the Mac colors. And then you have the gold version that this come in. And I think the gold version costs a few, maybe $20 more or whatnot. But yeah, this one also, the shipping on this is 10 to 15 days shipping. This will get you there a lot faster. Like I said, the price difference on that, this is heavier too. Maybe almost double, maybe, let me check this thing. I think it's might even be, I think it's about double. I think it's about double the weight of the ultra thin. So this gives you a little more weight, but that weight, you feel sturdy. It's not a bulky weight. It's a sturdy weight. It's something that when you're feeling like, okay, it feels more like a laptop if you're on the go, for example. I mean, if you want to pull this thing out on an airplane, it feels sturdy, like a laptop. If you can see the way it looks, the way it feels, it just feels like a laptop. This one, you could not do that with. You just got to take it. This one, when you're using it, you have to take it apart too much. This one, as you can see, open it up, it's like a normal laptop. You take it out, and this one you pop on there, and it goes back, as you can see there. But when you put it away, you gotta, as you can see, that trying to get that thing to snap in there, that's also a problem. So you gotta put it at a right, well, that's not the right angle. Let me try to find that right angle to get that snap to open up. There you go. So that's the right angle to get in there, snap and open up. When you open it, it pretty much falls right back off. So this, you got to put this thing together and take it apart a lot of times. And like I said, it just falls a lot. It's not as sturdy at all. So I don't really recommend it for that reason. This one, the Brydge Air here, I will show you. You pop this in here, it goes 180 degrees. This one, of course, does not. But this goes 180 degrees. You can lay this thing flat. There you go. And at all times, keep in mind, when I'm saying laying it flat or even popping it up in this angle, this iPad never hits the table because of these shimmies here, or whatever you want to call it. It never really touches the surface of a table or whatever the case is. This is always what's touching that surface, no matter what angle you put it at, except, of course, you put it at 180, you might get this side that's touching it. But it does not go full 360 where you can flip it. But I did notice that you can just take the thing out, take the iPad out, pop it in the other way backwards here, and just put it like that. And that'll give you that backwards view. And you can pretty much just use it like a normal iPad at that point. So either way, this is just a better overall device, I think. Like I said, I bought this because the Logitech just was not providing for me. It was not fun having that thing fall. It was just very, very inconvenient and just not something that I was interested in. So I'm more interested in the laptop field. I do a lot of writing, I do a lot of researching, I do a lot of internet browsing, and this is just a better keyboard for everything that I wanted, particularly because of the screen brightness and the backlit keyboards. Those two items alone are worth just paying for this keyboard, even the addition in it, that's worth just that. So I would definitely recommend getting the Brydge Air over the Logitech keyboard, just because it's going to give you a better overall feel. If you want something fast where you can take it out on and off and you're going to be using a normal desk that type things or a coffee table, you can go with this. This is fine, but it's not the one that you want to go with either way. In any case scenario, you want to go with the Brydge Air just because it's a better overall keyboard. So either way, that's my review of this. If you want to see the full review of full unboxing of the Ultra Thin, you can go ahead and do that on my other video. But for now, I would definitely say stick with the Brydge Air if you're looking for something that's going to give you more of a Mac feel or a MacBook feel or a MacBook Air feel, whatever the case is. But there you have it.